I didn't want to wear my wireless mic in here.
The way I plan to do this build right here with these stabilizers is with this. This is 3" by 4" downspout vinyl. This is from Lowe's. You can get it at Home Depot or wherever. I actually wanted something that was 4 by 6, but this is the biggest they make it, and it comes in 10-foot sticks. It is $15 a stick, so that's not bad. Now the way I intended to mount this on here was to put it flush at the back. I was going to come up to the front, cut it off the same angle as the boat, and I intended on drilling some like 1" holes through this outside right here, and then knock a 1/4" hole through the boat. It's above the waterline, ain't no big deal, and bolt it on like that. Started out was going to use washers, and I feel like it needed more support this way. Otherwise, you just hanging on in the middle of this being vinyl, you know, it may not be all that secure. So then I was going to take this angle iron and cut it off where it would fit inside like this. Cut it off, use that for a washer and a bracket. But I happen to have a junk pile, and in my junk pile I happen to have some of these old recessed lights that I got and didn't throw away. Well, on this recessed light, you pull this little tab right here, and you got a piece of galvanized metal that'll fit about perfectly right inside there. So I can now cut this and make 2 brackets to go on here. So I'm gonna put 4, so I'll cut 2 of these in half, and that'll have me covered for one side. This will be bolted to the boat, but it'll be bolted to the inside back here through one of these brackets. Now I told you that I had planned on cutting this off the same angle as the front of the boat, but looking a little closer, this is where that front seat is, and that's going to be a booger up under there trying to get it mounted, and this does not need to go all the way up to the front of the boat to work. So to make things easy, I'm going to cut a 45-degree angle down through here, and then mount my bolt right there. So when I'm putting my 45-degree angle on here, or thereabout, what I'm trying to do is look over here where my bolt's going to be and try to make sure that I'm going to have a good bite in there for that bracket. So I may want to come back this way just a hair. You don't want too much, because then it's going to be trying to pull away from the boat most likely. So that's going to be my line where I'm going to cut that off. If I can make a suggestion to you, if this is successful and you decide to do it on your boat, I started out trying to use these clamps on here, but no success on that. It'd hold on there for a little bit, then it'll work loose, because these things aren't extremely easy to bend to the shape of this boat. Your boat may be straighter, but anyway, so I decided to go with these straps, and these are cinch straps. I would suggest to try ratchet straps. start with, I was gonna have this up against the gunnel, or whatever you call that jewel. But now I've decided to run it along this rib that goes all the way down there. All right, I think that's gonna be close enough. We can go ahead and pop some 1-inch holes in. That's gonna be just about right there, I think. 3, 4, 5. So we're gonna go in the 3rd groove right there. Now I'm gonna try to run it in reverse to keep this from chunking out, get it to cut a little smoother. All right, let's see if I can get this in here. Hey, that got it. All right, y'all can see what we got going on right there. You can see it from the end right here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that 3 more times. Probably going to come to the back and put one of those big brackets right there. I may not use one of those big ones on the 2 middle. I may just use washers on those, something that I can fit through this hole. So I think I may just use the washers there and these 2 big ones on the ends. If you run into anything, it's going to be mostly on the front or the back. We'll just see how that goes. I can always do something different later on if I have to. I mean, if push came to shove, if I put the washers in them along in here and it didn't work out, if it broke loose somehow, I could come back and cut an access hole right there, put one of these in there, and then cover this back over with something. I don't think it'll be a problem. That's what we're doing. All right, we got this one in, pretty solid. I'm gonna measure between the front hole and the back hole. We got right at 99 inches right there. So we will come about 33 inches, make a mark. And then we'll come about 33 inches from here, make a mark, and in between those 2 we should have close to 33 inches. Actually got about 32 1/4. That's good enough. I'm gonna pop those 2 holes in there and then pop those bolts in. I think I just saw another screw up. If I put this one here, it's going to be about that far into this bench. So I'm just going to move this one over far enough to get it away from there, and that won't be no problem. This one right here is going to be fine. So we're just going to let that ride. All right, what you're gonna see me do right now is take this telescoping magnet, put it on my little boat with my washer on. See about where my hole is, because I ain't gonna be able to see it with that washer in the way. Straight in. Straight in. And guess what? I don't have a nut and washer waiting. So we're just gonna push that on in there, throw the washer on. Throw on the lock nut, pull that back out. We're just gonna snug this up. Say it's a lock nut, and I don't want a whole lot of pressure on here constantly. Good enough. I think that's gonna work. What we're gonna be doing is using this foam you can get from Lowe's or Home Depot. Obviously that one came from Lowe's. We're gonna cut some strips. It's gonna take 3.5 on one side, 3.5 on the other side. And then I think it's gonna take 3 pieces of 4-inch in between. Should fill that up. This thing's gonna float. So I'm finna get 3.5 right here. I'm gonna get 3.5 right here. I'm gonna do that twice, so I have 2 of them 3.5s, and then I'm gonna get 2 of them at 4 inches. I think that's what it'll take to fill this up right here. I'll get on that and get back with you. Y'all, this method's a whole lot faster than that spray foam method was. That other end down there, I stuck it in and put it up flush. Now I'm just gonna meet it with this right here, and I'm actually gonna be able to get everything I need out of these 2 pieces, I hope. It did not take 5 pieces like I hoped it would. It's only gonna accept 4, but it is what it is. We're gonna see which one works better anyway. All right. All right, that's them 3.5s. This is the 4. And try to work that in there. Not sure how that 3.5 didn't want to go. See, can we got another 4 and another 3.5 in there? There's a fold. There we go. I sure wish it would have took one more piece to give it that much more buoyancy on the side, but I don't see it happening. I'll show you what I mean, jelly bean. See, you just ain't got enough room, and you can't make enough room right there to make that, to force it to go through there and make that bend. It ain't gonna do it. Now before I go taking the time to cap these ends off, I think we're gonna take it on back to the pond, go ahead and test this out. It ain't gonna slide out of there. Y'all like that fancy paddle, don't you? I knew you would. Let's see. This thing doing any good. Seems to be doing pretty good to me. I'm standing with my toes on the edge of the boat, trying not to wet my hat. I mean, pretty good, pretty good. Are they as good as the ones on my other boat? No. But the other boat I put bigger stabilizers on. And that boat was a lot less stable than this one.